Hello everyone, this is LW Gaming and welcome to a new hero showcase video. This time let's talk about Abishai. And I gotta say, he is something that's worth talking about. So he is like similar to how the character Arkenfell from before. He works similarly to that, but keep in mind it is somewhat different here. But the reason I brought this up is because using active skills doesn't trigger their skill cooldowns, instead granting overheat based on the cooldowns that the skill has. So we'll do that. We'll talk about the talent once we get there. So first things first, let's talk about Abishai's factions. His factions, he's part of Dark Incarnation. He's also part of your Less Legends and Mythical Realm. And as for the class, he is Infantry and Demon. And as for the best class build, I think you can build him as a Demon if you want to for PvE. But for PvP, best to build him as Infantry to, of course, negate the the advantages against holies, because he doesn't do well against holy units. But of course, this can easily be ignored as long as you have Gaze, Succubus on your team or the enemy team, because the enemy team isn't really helping you much because they know that Abishai is going to be bad against certain classes. So the chance of them changing Abishai's class is slim to none, unless Abishai is the only one surviving, and then and then the enemy has Gaze herself and the one other ally, whichever it is. So yeah, the chance of the enemy changing this unit's class is low, because they don't really want to do that if they believe that he's already at a point where he will die no matter what. So anyways, let's talk about what he's about. So when you unlock him at the start, he will start with Air Slash, which is a common skill which allows you to attack the enemy from range with a 1.5 times damage multiplier. And then when you upgrade him once, you'll unlock his Overload Drive, which is his unique 1C. And the passive is that after taking the action, if an active skill was used and not doing overload, and he'll be able to move an additional 2 blocks and attack again, which is super useful as long as you're not in the overload overload state. Because after you use a skill, you'll be able to act again as many times as possible, as long as your overheat doesn't really exceed up to 5. That's the maximum that it will become overload. And during that time, you'll be able to move 2 blocks and attack each time. So you can do this up to 3 times total, by the way, and I'm not even kidding. Well, it just really depends on how much of the cooldown that you have here. And then the active part of this skill is that it increases the attack and int by 20% for 2 turns. This will grant a shield, which will be immune to all debuffs and can block damage equal to 25% of his HP, his max HP. When using this skill during overload, other skill cooldowns are reduced by 1 turn and restores 100% of his HP. Any buffs on the caster do not lose their turn count, and shield becomes Overload Shield, and this basically immunes to all debuffs and can block damage equal to 50% of his max HP. And by the way, the shield and Overload Shield cannot be dispelled no matter what, unless it is completely eaten up by damage. And then he also comes with Defense Break, and also Energy Torrent, which is the AoE attack that's like a 3x3 area in front of him, depending on which direction you're pointing at. This one attacks all enemies in 3 straight lines, 3 blocks long, which is 3x3, dealing 0.36 times AoE damage, and nullifies the enemy's accessory skills for 2 turns. And this cannot be dispelled. When the target is a non-player hero, this effect becomes damage taken increased by 20% for 2 turns as a trade-off if this is a PvE. And you cannot dispel it no matter what. And also during overload, applies the energy trap special terrain effects to blocks hit for 2 turns. And what this does is that when enemies whenever the enemy stands on these tiles, they will take fixed damage equal to 1 times of his attack stat. And after taking action, whenever they finish their action on those tiles, it's kind of similar to how Bright Summoner's Thunder Unicorn works when it comes to those tiles. But it looks a little different because for the unicorns, like the Thunder Unicorns that Bright Summoner has, theirs is like blue thunder, but your enemies is gonna be red. While for Abishai's case, it is red for yours. But I think for purple as the enemy, I might be wrong here, but I'm not sure how it looks like because I never seen it in game as of currently because I never fought against an Abishai player in Apex. So we'll be able to see that soon enough. Let's see, what else is there? Okay, so that's about it. So he also comes with Roar, which is a 2C common skill, which will strip 2 enemy buffs. And this will decrease their offensive stats by 20%. He also comes with Unflinching, which is somewhat useful for like some scenarios where if you really want to keep him alive for in some scenarios where it's critical, this passive is gonna save you. But overall, I think you best prefer to run his act against because he'll be able to reach better like that than just using this to sacrifice his act again. He also comes with Sun Slash for, of course, sustainability for himself and a good multiplier. And also he comes with Crush, which is the one that allows him to attack even hard, allows him to hit pretty hard with his attack increased by 12% whenever he enters battle. Now let's take a look at what class he has for the skills unlock. So at the beginning you'll be able to unlock this when you upgrade to a certain amount, which is Overload Drive, which is super important for him. If you go for Demon route, you'll unlock his Defense Break passive. And if you go for the final class for the Demon route, you'll get Energy Torrent, which is his 2C unique skill, as well as Roar. And if you go for the Infantry route, which is Gladiator, you'll unlock his passive Unflinching buff. Unflinching skill, I mean. And then if you go for final class for the Vindicator on the, well I should say Infantry class, you'll unlock Sun Slash and Crush passive. And these are the soldiers that are available as you see here. Pretty solid choices. And speaking of soldiers, let's see what soldiers he has available. So he has giant zombies, which you unlock through the training, of course. You also have an option to do Gallant Duelist if you desire. I fortunately do have a skin for that, so let me put that on there. Like, why not? Cyborg Vessel is another option you can go for. Berserker, on the other hand, it could be helpful, but at the same time, maybe not. But it's really up to your preference if you prefer. And speaking of Berserker, I've heard in one of those updates in the future, this one is gonna receive an SP form. So if you're thinking about using Berserker at some point in the future, I would say go right ahead because he can be pretty strong in some scenarios. But of course, for now, Berserker may not be the good option. But if you really want to use Berserker, wait until its SP comes out because I can tell that this SP is gonna be super good for some heroes, of course. And also he comes with heavy infantry if you choose so. Amazon Champion Hoplites is the preferred one if you go for like a infantry and lance route. As for the gear or equipment set, I went with our Mimir's War Axe to, of course, whenever an ally dies or enemy dies, he's gonna get some of his health back and also dispel a debuff for himself, which is super helpful in some cases. I also gave him some Praetor's Chainmail to, of course, make him very tricky to deal with. So, like whenever they attack you, they will lose one of their buffs. That's the idea. And then Forbidden Forest Helm, like whenever he gets attacked by anything, AoE, single target, whatever it is, he's going to get his defense increased. As long as the enemy with a HP higher than his. And of course, Butterfly Brooch is a common accessory that most units that uses it in Apex, which will allow him to negate a debuff every new turn. And also heals himself when that triggers, which is super neat. And now let's go on to his awakening stages. The first stage. Follow along, and this should not be that difficult. So anyways, we're going to be fighting on class disadvantage, but it doesn't really matter because we'll be killing Zion anyways. Our second opponent is Tiana, and then our final opponent is Alia or Alia. And once again, we'll be using Tyr as our covenant. So yep, we don't need to use these skills yet, but we can, however, use this skill here and give ourselves an act again. Yes, I'm not even kidding. So even though if you didn't kill this unit, you can use the skill again and then attack, as long as you're not in the overload state. Yeah, it took us 2 hits to kill him, but hey, it is what it is. And then we're just gonna move away, so that way Tiana will have to get close to us. And then since I did not use any skills, it reduces the overheat by one stack. So I'm gonna play it safe because if I do the act again here, it just probably won't proceed to like be able to make us go again. Let's see. Yeah, it's on the passive, so I'm not gonna risk it. So let's see, what are we gonna do with you? I think we'll just stand here and reduce that. There we go. Let's go here and then attack Tiana from range. Okay, got Tiana. And then we got act again because we attacked the enemy with a active skill. And then here's Alia. She's gonna be able to attack us from 4 blocks, which is troublesome. Okay, heaven section, ouch, but whatever. We're gonna use this here, and then go close range and then use air slash. There we go. Super easy to do. You just need to be smart. And let me get myself some more of this really quick. Okay, good enough. But I'll need to use all of it, so that way I'm not wasting my attempts here. So there we go. And also life drain is the one skill I forgot to talk about. So I think the 3C I already showed you on the showcase, even though I didn't explain it. So anyways, life drain on here is really something you need to watch out for. So the passive on this one, for each stack of overheat, damage taken is reduced by 6% up to 30%. And the physical damage, this will basically attack one enemy, dealing 1.8 times damage. For each stack of overheat, this spells 1 buff from the target. While using this skill during overload, units' crit rate increased by 100%. And then after battle, recovers HP equal to 30% damage dealt. If the target is eliminated, this will remove overload after battle. And you can actually get this removed again after 5 turns of the cooldown. So you cannot always erase the overload when it's the first time happens. So when that happens, you will be able to get back to being very OP. And then once that's already done, and you're gonna have to wait for 5 turns for that to come back, which is fair balance, because Elon doesn't want power creep units. So now let's see what this battle is about. So we have a team battle here. We have Shem as our ally, Makira as our second ally, and our third ally is Ilya. A mix of Wonder Swarm units here. Our first move is of course using this. I think for yourself. We'll just attack them from the distance. There we go, we just took out Makira first. And I'm just gonna keep it there. And I'm just going to go in and go straight forward. One time, and then there's a second time. And then go in there and attack Shem. There we go, we just took out 2 units right off the bat. I think we'll do this, move forward here. Illusory dance, and then jump to where you were, and then throw this. And then throw this again. Okay, put that on Abby. Okay, didn't quite take us out yet. And we survived that one somehow. Alright, let's use this AoE attack here. Okay, let's have Alia attack the enemies. Not Alia, the Alia versus Alia. Yep, so no more healing for the enemy. We're going to attack Abby here. Using Makira. And we're going to throw this at Abby. Okay, Abby v Abby. Air slash. Ouch. We're doing fine. And I'm just gonna do this just to be funny. I'm just gonna stand here. Well, didn't quite do the trick, but oh well, that works. Okay, there we go. That's the 3C unlock. And it comes with the animation as well, which is normal. So now I'll be right back. I'm going to be taking them into battle. I'm going to equip the skill first before I forget. So yeah, there we go. Now let's take them to battle and see what they're about. Okay, I am back onto the field of the testing ground, of course. So let's see what happens if I use Abishai and this is the enemy side. I wonder what does it look like. Oh, wait a minute. It's not showing that here yet. Okay, maybe next turn. I'm gonna make him into overheat, so that way this will enable that. And I don't think we'll be able to attack on this turn, so we're just gonna wait it out here. Okay, so let's try it out. I'm gonna be using this way on purpose, so that way we don't actually hit our units. And as expected, it is purple. Okay, so the enemy side's the energy trap is purple, while yours is red. Kind of like how they did with Z2, but yeah. Okay, I won't be doing that here. Just gonna do that so that way we can attack him and showcase the 3C. Anyways, here we go. 3C incoming against Epsilon. Well, not quite kill, but I mean, we can go again because of the major, which is the beauty of his passive on his 1C. This doesn't go on cooldown until you enter your overload. And we're going in again, and then we're just going to do this. And since we were able to kill Epsilon like that, he is already out of his overheat because the 3C removes it. Okay, I think that's about it of fun here. So anyways, we're gonna conclude the video, and I'll be right back. So overall, what did I think about this unit? He is super broken, if you know how to use him right, that is. I mean, the only thing that's kind of a bit of a downside for him is that he is short-legged for both classes. So yeah, even though he is pretty strong with his multi-act again, this may not be that broken, but we'll have to see how it goes when it comes to meta, because as of right now, I don't think I've seen anybody running Abby in their box as of currently. But we might be ended up getting some people running Lukeman actually, because of how useful it is to like reposition your allies to get closer and then be able to kill the enemy which they desire. So anyways, that's Abby for you, or Abishai. That's the full name, but Abby. I call him Abby for short because that's how I will remember him a lot more with. So anyways, that's it from me. So hope you all find this very helpful or informative, and I'll see you all next time. And I gotta do Sword Convalera very soon too. So yeah, anyways, I have a lot of videos to do. So see you then.